Are you listening to Lore Friendly? I'm Chris Takahashi, and with me as always is Alice Bell.
Hi guys! How's tricks?
How was your weekend, Alice?
My weekend was a thing. Okay. So, you know how I sometimes like to prove that I'm more than just a wealth of dick jokes and shit.
Yeah, why do you try to prove that?
Because sometimes I feel like I need more out of my life than dick jokes. I know it's hard to believe.
Oh, you're trying to convince yourself then.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes I feel like there's something, missing in my life.
Yeah, you're still at that age where you think there's more to life than dick jokes, but eventually you're going to reach that point where you're going to realize, like, who the fuck cares?
But for now, I'm not quite as jaded as you are.
Okay.
Okay, so in my quest for trying to find more out of life than dick jokes and shit talking, I decided to do some work for uni. And then I promptly decided to avoid doing the work for uni because I am nothing if not a procrastinator at heart. And so I decided to make a incredible contribution to the Elder Scrolls / Old Norse fandom. I know that there's a lot of overlap between those two fields.
I imagine so. We've lost half our listeners already.
Yeah. So, basically, I study Old Norse at uni, and a lot of the place names that are mentioned in there are really fucking obvious. Like, they refer to the history, or they refer to the person, or they refer to things like, this is a big rock, and they'll just call it Big Rock, kind of thing. So I thought, well, you know how Skyrim is super inspired by Norse culture? I'm gonna have a look and see if I can't translate Jorrvaskr for shits and gigs, because this is what I do to entertain myself when I'm not hungover.
Okay.
So, I made a fucking breakthrough, man. Like, this is legendary level. Like, this is, like, Stop the Presses kind of contribution, right?
I imagine so. We're devoting an entire 10 minutes to this segment.
So, the main tripping point for people who, when they've been trying to translate Jorrvaskr, is that they're not bearing in mind the rules of the Old Norse language. So they've translated Jor with the 2 R's that you're not meant to.
Oh.
Because, Norse, educational fact for the day, Norse is an inflected language, which means that, like, the grammar of it is, like, determined through, like, additions to endings of words. So, taking that into account, Jor, the first element, means horse.
Oh, okay.
The second R is the nominative masculine singular inflectional ending, and Vaskr means valiant. So what we have there is valiant horse.
Wow.
Now, that seems... But wait, there's more. That seems like a really stupid translation.
Yes, for an upside-down boat.
Yeah. Okay, so it's an upturned longship, and in Old Norse poetry, and this is the crux of my argument, ships were referred to as steeds or horses in Old Norse metaphorical devices known as pet kennings.
Oh.
Okay, and I have examples to back up my argument with actual quotes and shit, and I'm gonna read out some fucking Old Norse, okay?
It's your show.
So, from Jorrvaskr No, wait, cut that out because I pronounced that wrong. From Jorrvaskr, we have Ekmunganga to Gjalfamara in stanza 27. And Gjalfamara translates as sea steed, otherwise known as a ship. Yeah, bitch.
Oh.
And then in Glimdrapa, which is by Thorbjorn Hornkofi, Hyotha let Histratitha, Hathratha skipper Bertham, Borufax ins Blika, Banunga alog Thrungit, Thasvat Bask at Borthi, Borthhugvi rak Northen, Hilfa Valda til Hilda, Reg Duglinga Tvegja.
Okay then.
It took me fucking 17 takes to say it right. I take this shit seriously, man.
I think this is kind of like last week where we were trying to figure out like how they came up with the name for airplane.
Yeah.
And it was like walking a higher plane. Yeah. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's a valiant horse. That's what they call the horses.
Exactly.
It's just an ocean horse, a seahorse, more or less.
Yes. Nay. And then again, we have Jorrvaskr in that translation that I definitely just said live.
You should write a fucking paper on this shit and publish it to the scientific or Norse historical community.
You know what the best bit is?
What?
I am legit... For my master's dissertation, I am legitimately considering covering misinformation and misconceptions of Old Norse and Anglo-Saxon culture
in video games,
popular media. In popular media, yeah, because I'm a dick to the academic community. So yeah, Jorrvaskr, it means a fucking valiant horse, and it's backed up by fucking Old Norse poetry. Yeah, bitches. Or alternative interpretation, right? Bethesda didn't think that deeply into it, and I'm just pulling shit out my arse. That is the alternative.
It's possible.
And I thank you.
It's possible.
And there we go. That's what I spent my weekend doing. Instead of doing my actual coursework that I'm paying to do.
I think it's going to be a landmark discovery. It's going to change the way video game nomenclature is done, I think. It's right up there with the discovery of like the Higgs boson particle and relativity and all that. It's going to change the world.
You have no idea how excited I got when I was translating this. I was like, oh shit. Like, I proper, like, had a go at my sister. Like, Eleanor, I have had the biggest brainwave ever. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what is everything okay, Alice? And I was like, right, Jorrvaskr. It's a fucking valiant horse, man. Yeah, Todd Howard. Putting some thought into your games.
Yeah, as opposed to how I do names, I just randomly string words together, letters together. And then people ask me, oh, does this mean that? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
I think somebody did that with valgus. It means like light in some language. It also means a deformity involving the oblique displacement of a limb. But complete coincidence because I just made that name up, on the fly. Yeah. Just like Todd Howard.
Or it's like how Vilja, that really popular companion mod.
Oh, yes.
Means desire in Old Norse.
Oh, does it? Was that intentional, though?
I don't know. I've never really looked at the mod. I feel like she's meant to be like a romance type, moddy type thing.
I'm pretty sure that Emma put some thought into the name because it's like the only character she made.
It's a massive mod.
Yeah. With me, it's just like, because there's like hundreds of NPCs, I kind of just like, just string together a bunch of consonants and then that's what I come up with. Yeah. So then, like, if occasionally if a name happens to share something, like Rumarn is the name of like some kind of cold medicine, I think. So, if it shares a name with something else, it's a complete coincidence. There's a 99% chance that I've put zero thought into the name of any character. And it's just how I roll.
Well, you know what, Chris? You could just, hire me. Because obviously I am an expert in reading way too much into things, and I feel like I can really translate that into consultation work.
Do you take Dogecoin?
No, I take your Patreon money. This is what you pay me for.
That's true. Because I could pay you like 1,000 Dogecoin an hour, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually like $1.
It's still better than the exchange rate of the British pound at the minute. Economic collapse. Lol.
What else were we
Economics is funny. I don't know. I'm out for the night now. I'm done.
You put in your work. You're just gonna coast from here on out.
I'm just peacing out, man. I don't even know what the fuck else we're doing.
Just running out the clock. Football analogy. Yeah. There you go.
Thanks. I'll bear that in mind. Thank you.
Speaking of mods and stuff like that, have you seen the new Nexus redesign? big news.
No, I haven't.
What?
Even though you mentioned this to me last week.
Well, they have a new, completely new redesign. I don't. It's kind of optional,
Okay.
just like this podcast.
View new layout. View new layout. Here we go.
What do you think?
Oh. Okay. Okay. Give me a sec. Oh, looking at it from a glance, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it.
It's a lot more visual oriented, I think. Than
Yeah.
I mean, it's more or less the same site. It has the same sort of categories you can like sort by and all that, but it's all done with like pictures now. It's like as before it was just kind of like text. You have to like search to find stuff, or you have to navigate text and drop down menus. Now it's more of like thumbnails and clickable links. They also put a huge section of more mods. Like they have the hot files at the top. That's the same thing, right? More or less as before. And then under that they have the more mods, new this week, popular 30 days, popular all the time, more trending. So they have just another like huge section that they didn't have before, which I guess would help other mods get to the front page, whereas before it was just the hot files and that's it. So I do think they're making a better effort of showing more mods on the front.
Yeah, there's definitely like just a lot more there that you don't have to click to get to.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that as soon as I've loaded this up, the second mod on New Today is Adult Show XXX. Keep it classy, Nexus.
Yeah.
Keep it classy.
There's going to be a lot of...
yeah, I'm worried about seeing a lot more porn on
not
my
just
Nexus
porn,
journey.
just like flotsam. I don't know.
Flotsam and Jetsam.
There's gonna be a lot of just nonsense on it. Like one of the mods I'm looking at is a picture of a stick figure with a square body and a bunch of red scribbles on it. I mean,
Beautiful.
to be fair, it's not that much different from my own like thumbnail, but yeah. Like,
I
what
feel
is
like you
that?
put a little bit more effort into it
No, you should
than
see
just a stick figure.
No, you should see my Settlers of the Common. I was gonna actually do stick figures for Settlers of the Commonwealth, but I found the stock image of a bunch of people holding hands instead, so I used that. But yeah, there's a picture of a stick figure as one of the thumbnails. There's a picture of Kino from an anime, Kino's Journey Army Fatigues. That's a good anime.
I haven't like watched any anime in years. The closest that I've gotten to it is watching the latest episode of Hellsing Bridge.
The other thing on the Nexus front page now that's changed is the media section, and then news under that.
I feel like news should be higher up. I feel like this is not the best of layouts.
Yeah.
Like the old one, it sounds really lazy, right? But you didn't have to like scroll all the way down the page to get a glance of everything that the website had to offer.
Yeah. This is a lot more of an assault on the senses, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was a little overwhelming the first time I saw it, but once you get like a feel of what sections, what blocks you can ignore and what blocks you want to get to,
Yeah.
it'll be easier. It'll be easier to find what you want. But it is an assault on the senses.
But that's not good website design. You shouldn't have to be relying on your audience to completely adapt to it. You should be making it as easy for
Yeah,
the
because
audience
there
as
are
possible.
a ton of these little boxes. Like it's just a wall of thumbnails. So it does kind of get a little bit much, but I think with a few tweaks it'll be fine. I like the fact that there's more stuff featured as compared to before, where it was just if you're not a hot file, you might as well not even have made a mod. You're in like oblivion more or less.
Yeah,
It
you're
was
done.
like hot files or nothing. Whereas now there's like all these like helpful tabs and you can see all these smaller mods that get made. But yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I appreciate that. But I also appreciate that it is definitely being done as a trial run, and you can switch back to the old layout. Which I appreciate because
Yes.
that gives them feedback, and that means they can adapt it, and that's The most important thing is being responsive to your audience's needs and demands, you know?
The other thing is the media section. We could totally spam that with our stuff.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, yeah, let's be
And
dead.
it's not much worse than what they have there now, which is like, pictures of like, waifus and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, my waifu's far prettier than that.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Everybody knows that R404 is the best waifu. Because it's voiced by me. And I need some love. I need some love and support.
Even if it's through an intermediary.
Yeah.
By proxy. Love by proxy.
Because then at least I know that out there somewhere, some aspect of my personality has a more successful love life than I do.
You were supposed to voice the character, not voice it as yourself, Alice. Not that I'd give a shit, because I'm lazy.
R404 is me. Love me.
Shall we talk about the trailers that we saw this week? Last of
Yes.
Us 2.
So, this week, was it the Paris Games Week?
Sure, why not? There's
I
so
think
many
it was the
conventions.
Paris Games Week.
Paris, Nairobi. I mean, it's just all these conventions. It's just I don't really pay attention to the names. I just look at the YouTube trailers and stuff.
But this is the one where there was some actual like big trailers released.
Yeah, it's kind of odd because like I've always thought like big trailers get released for like E3 and like what else, CES or Tokyo Game Show, and that's about it. But
Yeah, and Gamescom sometimes,
yeah.
in Germany.
But now there's like
But,
so
like,
many conventions, they have to kind of like release a trailer for every single one. So good for us.
Yeah, we're like past main like game show season, aren't we?
Game show season? You mean like The Price is Right and shit like that?
Fuck off. You know what I meant.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I do.
I don't know that there is
Desperately.
a season, but yes, we both.
Like I feel like there's more game shows in like the summer months than anywhere
Keep
else.
calling it game shows.
Well, it is. It's shows for games. It's like if you go to a show for cars, you can't call it car show.
Yeah, but
Or if you go to a tech show, you call it a tech
it's
show.
already something else. You can't.
Well, you know what, Chris? Language is constantly evolving, and it can take on more than one meaning, okay?
Well, only if the previous interpretation is extinct. Although that's not true. We have
No.
Jorrvaskr,
Yeah. Fuck off.
which can
that-
mean
no,
both a
that
horse and a boat. So there you go. But yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, it's like literally, you know?
Yeah.
How I say literally all the time to never actually mean literally. I just use it for emphasis. Like, words can take on more than one meaning, okay, Chris?
True.
Language is beautiful
True.
and really fucking complicated. Hence why I'm going to keep on calling it a game show. Okay?
Okay.
You alright with that? Yeah.
As long as
I
you're
thought
okay
not.
with me
Yeah.
calling boats a horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can call planes Pegasi.
Yeah.
And like we're just going the whole fucking hogs now.
Yeah. It's like motorboat. Motorboating is called motor horsing now.
Which kind of motorboating?
You know
See,
which
this
kind.
is it.
Do I sound like a person who owns a boat, Alice? So I could only be talking about one kind. And again, I don't have a pair of tits either, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, if you ate more and you put on a load of weight, you could have your own.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
No, Last of Us 2.
This is why nobody takes us seriously.
Except for the YouTube ad-friendly bot, because
I don't know. Will we get flagged?
no.
I'm gonna be really pissed off. There was actual education in this vid. If we get called up on this, no siree. This has educational value.
No, seriously.
People.
Kids should be listening to our podcast.
Exactly.
Instead of going to school.
Kid friendly. The new subshoot.
Yeah, they should be going to our fucking podcast instead of wasting their time in class, learning nothing.
Like, they can learn about horses and valiant horses and ships.
learn that it actually means upside down boat.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Last of Us 2.
Nice segue.
What did you think of the trailer?
It wasn't what I was expecting.
Oh
but...
yeah, it was fucking brutal, is what it was.
Oh yeah, it was insanely good. But like, it just wasn't what I was expecting, you know?
What were you expecting? Like them to be holding hands and singing "Kumbaya"?
No, I was expecting Ellie. I was expecting Ellie and Joel. But it was. I loved The Last of Us. Okay, The Last of Us was an absolute masterpiece in storytelling. It was one of the games that made me cry within the first 10 minutes, and there's only about 30 of them out there. And it was a really well done story with a lot of phenomenal acting and writing.
That's great.
And actual decent gameplay as well. The trailer is not what I was expecting, because obviously you want your protagonist in one of like your big trailers kind of thing.
Okay, I was confused. That wasn't Ellie who was getting hanged?
No, I don't think it was.
God, they just...
Like, the earliest trailer kind of, like, confirmed that Ellie's, like, super young. Oh, wait, you were joking. You were being facetious.
No, I wasn't. I was being serious.
Oh.
I thought they look fucking alike. That looks just like her. God, I get so confused.
I'm gonna Google it. Fan theory says that it's Ellie's mom.
Okay, so that would explain why they fucking look almost identical.
Yeah, that actually would, yeah.
Well, because normally in a video game, you kind of want to make the faces as distinct as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell the difference between her face and the actor, what's her name? She was on Growing Pains. Ashley Johnson?
Ashley Johnson, yeah. She is also on Critical Role.
Thank you.
Oh man, I cracked myself up. I'm so funny.
But yeah, so she's not Ellie then. Okay, never mind. Proceed.
Yeah, no, like, it wasn't what I was expecting out of the trailer, but god damn it, they know how to put a short story together. God damn. It was good, you know? It was really good.
Yeah, the only thing for me is that it was so violent, which, I mean, it needs to be. It's more like matches the setting, right? More or less. But it was just like, oh,
yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to play games like this anymore. I'm just a big pussy. I don't fucking need this shit in my life.
Yeah, the real world is actually really depressing. I don't know if, like, if video games can keep up with it, you know?
Oh, that's true.
They're goddamn trying.
Well, that's the thing. Like, video games, like, I kind of want an escape from depressing shit. I don't want more depressing shit, you know? And, like, speaking of which, that Detroit Beyond Human trailer.
Oh, I have issues with that, okay? So, the new Detroit trailer that was released featured a scenario with domestic abuse in it. And, like, I'm fine with games tackling hard-hitting subjects. Like, that is my jam. I believe that video games are an art form, blah, blah, blah. I believe that it's perfectly valid for video games to try and tackle. But David Cage is not the right person to do it. That was the most cartoonish portrayal of domestic violence I have ever seen in my life. Oh my god.
What did you find cartoonish about it?
It was just the way that they scripted the dad to speak was very high school. Right. Okay, so I used to do drama at school. We used to have to do a lot of, like, improvisation. And if you want to be edgy, you do the edgy subjects. That sounded like the kind of shit that our groups would come up with when I was 15. Pretend that we were all edgy and stuff. Right?
David Cage does have a history of being edgy.
Yeah, and not being a particularly good writer. I have to say. Like, he is not the best person to tackle domestic violence in video games. He may think that he is, but he's not. Okay?
What were some of the things he's done previously? I think I saw
He's done Beyond Two Souls, which had the weirdest rape scenario I've ever seen. Well, not weird, but like no one's gonna act like that. The thing is, he tries to dramatize the really serious situations and really serious topics, and that's fine. It's the way that he does them, reduces them to, like, works off of caricatures and tropes that doesn't properly explore the topic.
Right.
You know?
It may just be the fact that it's also like a video game scenario. I don't know. It's just, I think I read somewhere where they were wondering, like, okay, how is this scenario going to play out? Is it going to be like, press A to stop the rape, press B, and the rape continues, and there's a suicide? It's just like, it's kind of like this, being reductive, reducing the complex kind of issue to, like, press A to win or something, like, to like a simple 50-50 choice. So I don't know. We haven't played the game, so it's like hard to speculate what it's gonna be. But and it's fine that they're tackling these kind of subjects. But there's kind of a danger when you're dealing with gameplay and you're dealing with choices, because gameplay choices are ultimately going to be limited. You know, I mean, there's only so much nuance you can add. So it's going to be interesting to see if this game adds that nuance, or if it's just more like a visual novel where there's a specific sequence of answers you have to give in order to get the good ending. Which is fine for most quests and gameplay and choices, to give the player agency. That's what you want. But when it's a subject as sensitive as domestic abuse, you run a real danger of saying, do this and that, and everything will be fine, when real life doesn't work that way.
I feel like if you're going to write a game that tackles serious topics like rape or domestic violence or something like that, you have to build the game around it. Like, my favourite example of a game taking an incredibly serious topic and doing it well is Spec Ops Beyond the Line, because the game was designed around the idea of exploring PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And it did it very well, because it built from the ground up this idea of being like a generic shooter, and then it subverted it by making it a projection of the character's own PTSD, his own glorification, his own, like, the way that his own coping mechanisms. And that was a really good way of tackling such a serious issue. And I feel like if a game is going to tackle topics like that, it needs to do it from, like, the ground up. It needs to have those kind of scenarios in mind, and it needs to build the mechanics around it, not just the storyline. Because press B to stop the hitting, or press is not taking it seriously, you know?
Yeah, I think they're gonna take it seriously. I'm just worried about the gameplay limitations and how that will affect your ability to give a nuanced response to the events that we're seeing.
There are only so many scenarios that we can program.
Yeah, and in fairness, the game is pitching itself on this idea of having nuanced player choice, so maybe it is a step forward in that, or it could just be more empty promises. We don't know, but at least that's what they're pitching themselves on, so we'll see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it is worth bearing in mind that this is just one of many scenarios that have been trailered and previewed.
Yeah.
So this could just be a dud. This could just be a shitty episode in what could be a fantastic game. I haven't looked at any of the other trailers. I'm not gonna lie. So it could tackle things a bit differently.
Yeah, in general, it's just, I don't know if I want to play it personally just because it's more depressing shit. I mean, it might be good, but it's just like, I don't want to play depressing stuff. The world is depressing enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a PS4, so I can't play it. So that's kind of,
why are we even talking
I'm probably not
about
going to play because it allowed us to have an intelligent and informed discussion about the portrayal of serious or taboo subjects in video games and how we can tackle those subjects.
Anything else you want to talk about trailer-wise?
No.
So
I'm done. I've had my rant.
Stranger Things, episode 2.
Okay, let me get my notes out. They're not quite as extensive as last week, but they're still just as stupid.
So, to start, we had the scene where we flash back to 11 escaping the school, or what happened to 11, more or less, because originally it was implied that she died defeating the Demogorgon. It turns out she kind of just like went to the other upside down and just came back real quick. It was actually kind of anticlimactic in how like simple it was for her to get away.
But at the same time, it did explain why, even though she got back so easily, why she didn't like immediately jump into being part of the gang again.
Yeah, that whole scene where she was outside the window and Mike saw her.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. 11 and Mike, they're so cute. Oh. It was nice. It was a nice little character moment of Mike defending Elle and standing up to the adults, which is what a lot of the first season was about. It was sticking up for yourself amongst the sea of disbelieving adults and authority figures and stuff. It's the Goonies. I say that like I've seen the Goonies. I haven't. I don't know what the fuck it's about. But I'm going to say that it's like the Goonies because we mentioned it last week and I'm all for continuity.
Sure, why not? I'm just going to start doing that with other movies. It's like Thor Ragnarok that I haven't seen. Just start throwing it out there.
It's fantastic. You should watch it. It is actually genuinely fantastic. If you get a chance, you should go watch it.
You know, chances are, if you kind of just pick a movie that's somewhat similar, you might actually like make sense, even though you don't.
It's
know
like
what
Buffy
you're
the
talking about.
Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
It's got teenagers in it and love triangles and stuff and probably vampires.
You've
right?
never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No, I've watched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I have had many a conversation with one of my lecturers about it.
Yeah, it's just like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which I've totally played.
To be fair, I've talked about it enough.
Yeah, I feel
you probably
like
know
I've played
exactly
it.
what the game.
I feel like I've played it like a million times, just based on our conversations. So, then basically the whole theme of the episode is just kind of like we don't take risks and all that. You know, we're not gonna go trick or treating because obviously you're gonna get spotted. It's gonna be weird. Like, why does Hopper suddenly have a kid he's trick or treating with?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that was gonna happen. But I did find it funny that he told her, like, I promise I'll be back and we'll go watch a movie. Whenever a person in a like TV show or movie says that, they're never coming back on time.
They're never coming back, no.
They're not going to keep their promise. Nope.
That was just such a cute little scene, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I'm a ghost.
It's the Charlie Brown
I'm a ghost.
Halloween outfit.
It's Halloween. I'm a ghost.
Yeah. There's a good
like,
contrast with that and the fucking other kids' outfits, which look better than the professionals, like the fucking Ghostbuster outfits. Yeah. What kind of kid that age has an outfit that good? Yeah.
I think that's the biggest anachronism about the whole 80s setting. Is you can't buy outfits that good.
No.
Never mind making them at home. They are... someone in the costume department had way too much time on their hands, and they completely forgot that they were designing it for a load of middle-class 80s kids instead of rich, not 80s kids.
Like, yeah, I mean, with the nameplates and everything, there's no way.
Yeah, no.
There's no way.
I get that they're geeks, but it's, you know, it's not realistic. No baby's first cosplay is that good. Yeah. I should know.
Most of us were wearing the sheet. I actually had a sheet ghost outfit one year.
Aww. I used to get most of my costumes made out of bin bags. So like I'd go as a witch, and as my cape I would just have a bin bag wrapped around my neck. Because that's just how we did it in small town England, you know? We didn't have any actual costumes.
Yeah.
And think that was like yesterday, especially compared to you.
In my defense, the ghost costume, that was straight. It was more like laziness than like lack of resources. I think like if we made a little bit of effort, I could have gotten a better costume. But it's just like, fuck this shit. I just want candy. Just give me a fucking bedsheet. I'll poke some eye holes into it and let's go.
To be fair, I feel like it's probably better than my bin bag witch. So, you know, you were
it's
like
timeless.
way ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's timeless.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an instance where, because the kids went to school and they were the only ones wearing costumes, has that ever happened to you?
we have to wear school uniform at our primary schools and stuff, so like the age that those kids would be.
Mm-hmm.
So like primary and secondary school, we have set uniforms, and we sometimes have non-uniform days. And I have turned up many a time in my uniform on non-uniform days, but never quite that bad.
Okay.
So what about you? Is this more of an American thing that I don't get?
I have done it once for work, because at work, it's not like a regular job. It's not a regular job.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I worked at the library, in college, and I was working on Halloween, and I just decided to come in costume because like, what
Oh,
the
that's
hell?
amazing. You probably brightened up so many students' days.
Well, the thing is, it was like just an excuse to wear a mask. More or less. I didn't want to fucking look at people, but yeah, it's just yeah, I like wore like some kind of Reaper costume or something like that. But it was funny because like then I could be a dick and then no one could know who it was.
It's just part of the character, you know. Death's
Yeah,
kind of a dick.
yeah,
He's coming for you, man.
Exactly.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
that did happen, but it was more intentional than, I mean, what are they going to do? It's Halloween. Plus, it was a shitty, like, school student job, so it's not like I cared if I got fired,
Yeah.
but yeah. But, like, I imagine it was embarrassing for them, even though their fucking uniforms rocked. I don't know why it would be
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like,
Why would you be embarrassed by having such cool costumes, guys? Come on.
I guess because they're kids. Then we also had, what else? Max sort of integrating herself into the group. We had a scene earlier that I thought kind of paralleled where they're talking about Winston and how uncool Winston is. And like to me, Max is kind of like Winston. Like she's coming in like in between the movie more or less, and she's kind of joining the group.
Yeah.
And, she's not the original three, but she has her own thing. She's kind of independent. So
Yeah. I like Max.
yeah. I like Max too.
There was a lovely scene between Hopper and I still don't know Winona Ryder's character's name.
Oh no.
So I've just put Hopper and Winona. And we learnt a bit more about their relationship. Like, obviously we know that Hawkins is a small town. Nothing ever happens here, apart from, the occasional Demogorgon invasion. But, yeah, so we learned... So, like, we had to assume that they maybe went to school together or something like that, but we got that fun little aside of them apparently sneaking off out of class and smoking around the back of the school and things. And it was just, like... a nice character moment because I feel like it throws a lot of their interactions from the first season into perspective a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like it just adds an extra dimension to the relationship that you can then apply to earlier episodes. Like you can see, oh, so that's why they act like this kind of thing. It's just like a nice little bit of character building. And you know how I was saying about the more subtle world building that they do in the show in general, and how I prefer that over the lambasting of soundtracks. Just the casual smoking and stuff like that's something that you never really like. If a character smokes nowadays, it's because they're badass or they're cool or they're dying of cancer, whereas because it's the 80s, everyone does it, and it's just like, it's not a remarkable thing in a scene kind of thing. It's just an extra part of the setting, you know? And I feel like that's just like a nice little bit of...
I didn't notice, but were they wearing seatbelts in Max's car? Because that kind of reminds me of something else from the 80s where it was a big deal that people, like a safety issue, like same with cigarettes, like people smoked because it wasn't as big of a deal in terms of like their lungs and stuff. And the same thing in the 80s, like people just didn't wear seatbelts all the time. It was just a thing. So
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. I'd have to watch that again. Maybe they weren't wearing seatbelts.
I think Max was. I don't think her
Oh,
brother,
Mr. Badass.
dickhead, mullet. I've just got him written down as
Mr.
mullet 'cause he's a
Psycho.
dick. Yeah.
Fucking almost tried to run over the kids. Yeah. That dude's
God,
crazy.
King of the
keg.
hate him so much. He's such a dick. Was that ever like someone that people would find appealing back then?
I don't know.
Although, he might be like... Maybe they're doing something clever with here and I'm just showing my lack of, like, 80s film knowledge in general. Yeah.
No, he's just an abuser, and more or less the problem that Max has to deal with, and that where she's, like, sort of needing an outlet, and that's why she joins with the other kids, even though it's apparent that, like, Mike won't like her because he'll see her as an 11 replacement, more or less.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
just
that's
not
why
cool.
Mike is getting so upset with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
There's a lot of, like, love triangles in this show. We got the kids love triangle. We got the Winona Ryder one. We got the Steve and Jonathan and what's her face? I don't know her name either. Mike's sister.
Nancy.
That whole other thing.
Nancy and Jonathan and Steve.
Yeah, which seems to be going on for 2 seasons now that it hasn't
Yeah.
been resolved yet. I don't know how they're gonna keep stringing this along, like in season 3 and 4. Like, she needs to pick a boy and stick with him.
Yeah. Apparently, right? Nancy's actress and Jonathan's actor are actually dating in real life.
Oh,
So that must be really awkward for the
Awkward.
scenes with Steve. Poor guy.
well, not if he doesn't end up with her, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that
But
influences like how they write the show, because like if certain 2 people have chemistry, they're gonna like link them up. I don't know.
yeah. Just because it makes for more genuine performances.
Yeah.
On the topic of Nancy and Steve, I am enjoying how the show is giving us like nuanced perspective into different kinds of way that people express trauma. I'm thinking like Nancy's reaction is very different to Steve's reaction, obviously because she was close to like the fact that they actually lost someone. But she's reacting very differently to the kid, and she's acting very differently to Winona and things like that.
Well, granted, Steve, I mean, he never gave a shit about Barb, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's natural for him to kind of deflect and only think about himself. And I mean, and Nancy too. He loves Nancy, but it's Nancy's more of just like heartbroken by the incident. So, yeah, it makes sense that this is gonna create a fissure between them, and then kind of bring up their like real issues, which is that she doesn't love him. So,
and it links back to the anniversary effect that was mentioned, because obviously they've managed to go through a year without these kind of problems, and it links back to the anniversary effect that was mentioned in the last episode, where Will was going to get reoccurring visions because obviously it's the anniversary of the trauma. Same thing for Nancy. It's like it's not just one specific concept linked to a specific character. It's something that all of the characters are experiencing, and I'm appreciative that the show's exploring that. Also, I like how Nancy gave voice to the internet. Nobody remembers Barb.
poor Barb. She's getting a ton of airtime though in this season.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for
Post-mortem
Ghost
airtime.
Barb to come on,
Woo. Yeah.
riding the Triceratops, which I also called a horse last week. So,
I know, you dum-dum.
so I could have been talking about a boat as well. See?
Yeah.
Language interchangeable.
Dude, it's a magical thing, man. It's a magical thing. But, yeah, so, yeah. Why was Nancy wearing white to a party? Who the hell wears white to a party?
Is that not a thing? I don't know. I don't, like, if I go to a party, I don't think about my sartorial choices.
White is very messy.
In color terms, I
Right.
guess.
White stains easily, as we saw in this episode.
Yeah, so don't spill something on yourself.
Do you know how hard that is at a party?
I guess maybe I'm just not getting as drunk as you are.
Maybe. Maybe.
Because it
But
sounds...
you get, like, people running into you and bumping into you and spilling their drinks all over you. Like, the amount of times that I have ended up with someone else's drink spilt in my hair is beyond belief, you
Maybe
know?
you should just go in, like, a swim cap and, like, a wetsuit or something.
Hi, guys!
No, because...
I'm here for the party!
I mean, other clothes stain too. Like if you wore something like a lighter color, anything other than black. I mean, unless you're going as in all black, you're really gonna get stained on you.
Chris,
no matter
do you
what,
know
right?
me? Do you know me? My recommendation is that you only wear all black on a night out.
Or any
Only.
night, or
Yeah.
any day.
Exactly. I am currently sat in a black bat onesie. because I know that it is very likely that I will spill my tea down myself.
My recommendation is to go to parties or go to areas where you're not constantly getting liquid spilled on you. Then you can wear whatever the fuck you want.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. That's really, like, practical advice. Like,
Maybe Nancy didn't expect for this party to get wild and for her to get shit-faced. And at that point, she's just like, oh, white is fine. I look good in white. I'm going to wear white.
I mean, she does look good in white, so...
Or it could just be a plot point.
Yeah, just to, like, get them into the bathroom and then have the drunk mind, sober heart talk.
So when you go to your parties, like, there isn't a single person wearing white. You're just all consciously, like, prepared for, like, drink spillage at all times. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, there's a lot of reds, because red doesn't stain that bad, especially if you go for, like, a burgundy. It depends on what's in fashion at the minute, but it mainly comes from the fact that I go to a very messy club, in my hometown, where if you turn up in white, you're fucked. Like, you are just straight up fucked, man. It's a messy kind of rock dive bar.
They should just hand out bibs at the door.
Yeah, that would actually be bibs and shower caps.
Yeah.
Just like, here you go, enjoy your stay. Now you can get shit-faced.
Oh,
no! What they could do is they could hand out ponchos.
Ponchos.
So you can
would be
still
good.
see the outfit underneath. Like, if you get a see-through poncho, so people can still appreciate it.
Oh, you mean
But-
like rain ponchos?
Yeah!
I thought you meant like fucking Mexican ponchos and shit.
No! No!
Sombrero.
I meant like the things that you wear to theme parks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
See? Oh, fuck. I'm gonna get on that.
Or maybe go to a club where people aren't constantly spilling liquids on you, if such a place exists.
Have you ever been to a club?
No. I've probably been like 3 or 4 times. It's boring. Like, well, you can't even hear anybody. It's the music so loud. Like, how do you even talk to people? I don't know. It makes no sense to
don't.
me.
You get
I've been to
drunk
clubs and it makes no sense
And
to me.
you let strangers grind up on you.
Okay.
And then you complain
Lovely.
about how gross all those strangers are. And then you go out to the smoking area to just chill so you can actually hear people. And then you have conversations with actually decent people in the smoking area. And then you go to McDonald's at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's great.
That makes no sense. Why would you even go in the club? Why not just hang out in the smoking area? Just slide in and say like, hey, that music in there is great, right, guys?
Hey, guys!
It'll be just like...
How's things?
It'd be just like when you pretended to watch The Goonies. Same
To be
thing.
fair, you save on like cover as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think
I
I know
just
what I'm
stroll
doing
up
on my
there.
next night out. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, that DJ's great. Reminds me of my favorite game, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh my god, Chris. Oh, the fucking clubs in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Seriously. It's so... Oh, man, the dance. The fucking dancing. That is why you spill your drinks everywhere, man. I will just send you a video of the dance, because it is amazing. It is the best dancing animation I've ever seen in my life.
So we've talked for over an hour. Anything
Oops.
else?
Stranger Things was a good episode.
Yes.
Now I have to try and figure out how to edit.
All right. That's it for this episode of Lore Friendly. Goodbye.
Goodbye.